The real success stories told by the people who live them.
We're going to have some guests on this show that everybody knows, and we're going to have guests on this show that nobody knows yet.
One by one, Nick Hyder is adding hits to the hit streak.
Blessings, folks. It's your man, Nick Hyder, back with another episode of the Hitstreak podcast. And today, I can't tell you how pumped I am about my guest today. The social media sensation. You have so many titles. I won't go through all of them because we'll be here all day long. But I got proud to call him a friend, an amazing person, Ivan Itzkowitz, in the house tonight or today. Ivan, thanks for being here, baby.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So let's learn a little bit about Ivan, shall we?
See.
So you were born and raised in South Florida.
Yes, sir.
You had a 15-year background in the production business, right? So let's pause there and let's just talk. Well, no, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
In the production business now, you are a successful agency owner. We work together with a lot of colleagues and customers and clients together,
Yes,
and have been for quite some time. You were known as a team builder, a culture builder, but most importantly, a proud father of two and a devoted husband to a wife, Savannah, of 14 years.
14.
That's fantastic.
She knew me when I was a baby. A 20-year-old baby. She actually hosted a surprise party for my 21st birthday.
Dude.
I love that.
Dude.
I love that.
Well, how old are you now?
35.
35.
35.
Man, he looks good, doesn't he? He looks real good. So, all right. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your story, your background, all that kind of stuff. So you grew up in South Florida, obviously high school. What'd you do after high school?
So born and raised in the Miami area. We moved to Hollywood in the middle of 11th grade. And then after high school, you're kind of stuck with like, well, what next, right? So this is going to sound super funny, but believe it or not, I had been cutting hair from middle school up all throughout high school. And as soon as I graduated high school, I was like, okay, great. I want to start cutting hair. And so my sister the year before in 2003, she went to one of the technical schools local in Hollywood and Sheridan Tech. And it was like a $3,200, $3,600 program to get her, cosmetology license. And the following year, I was like, no, in the spirit of Ivan, and you'll learn that quickly, everything has to be next level, top. So I was like, you know what? We're not going to do Sheridan Tech. We're going to do Paul Mitchell, because Paul Mitchell, that's the energy, that's the vibe, that's where I need to go. I go to Paul Mitchell, they're like $9,400. And this is in 2004. My eyes almost exploded. I was like, no, I just want to learn how to cut hair. And they're like, yes, $9,400 for the course. And I was like, but my sister went to Sheridan Tech. They're like, listen, if you want to work at Supercuts and then go to Sheridan Tech, okay? But if you want to own your own salon, this is where you need to be. And it was at that moment, I'm going to show you. I'm just not going to go to school at all, okay? I'm going to keep on keeping on, okay? And that was it. And so I just continued to go. I was working in nightclubs. I started out as a promoter. So I was that guy on the streets, on the sidewalks, and, when you're crossing the train tracks, handing out free drink tickets and flyers and promotional flyers and wristbands to get into the nightclub. And then I got quickly asked to start doing, MC work or camera work, actually. So, and I was like, a buddy of mine was like, hey, one of my camera girls, one of the hot, who's friends with the shot girl. So there's the hot shot girl, and then there's the good looking camera girl. This is back, early 2000s, where they're actual people would log onto a website to look at their party pics, right? Mm-hmm. So he was like, my girl canceled on me. Do you think you can help me out? And I was like, I don't really have a camera, but he was like, no, I have a Kodak Easy Share. It's simple. You put it on your wrist. The people are drinking half the time. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just take the picture, give them the card so they come to the website. And that was literally the what jumpstart my passion for photography. Well, as funny as that may sound, but I started doing nightclub photos. My buddy calls me up the next day. He's like, man, those photos were the best I've ever had. I'm like, they're nightclub photos.
Yeah.
He's like, they were great, man. Do you mind doing it again on Saturday? And I was like, sure. Okay, no problem. So it turned from being a street promoter to the inside club photographer. And then I just fell in love with photography in 2007. I went to the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale and I did their photography program, which ironically was 21,000. So what could have been a $9,400 project doing hair now is a couple of years later, a $21,000 project doing photography. And, so I fell in love with the camera and bought a real camera after that, and I did more nightclub stuff. And then a buddy of mine who's huge into Heels and Zoes and social media agency. Am I allowed to name drop or anything like that?
Sure, man.
A buddy of mine, he went by Mike Dukes back then, but now it's Michael Cuniff, and the social agency, and his girlfriend at the time was worked at Hooters. And so she wanted to be on the Hooters calendar. And he obviously, I didn't have real experience, but he knew me as the camera guy from the nightclub. So he's like, you think you can take photos? And I was like, sure, no problem. So I did the photos of his girlfriend. And out of 1,300 girls in Florida, she was the only one to make it on the Hooters calendar. And that was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Because that kind of like gave me the confidence to now say, I'm a photographer.
That's
you know?
right.
And so literally I started doing, portraits and weddings and assisting and more nightclub stuff. And then finally, studio work and ad campaigns and traveling and helping out as, second cameras on music videos. And then I just had a beautiful long career. And I loved everything about it, traveling, doing photography work, obviously photographing beautiful people. It's always a plus while making money. I had my wife's super supportive always since day one. And but what I quickly learned was that unless I had a camera in my hand or I was editing somebody else's work, I wasn't making money. So late 2018, a good buddy of mine, he's huge in the industry, Garrett Laughlin, and he was my age, 30 years old, 31 years old, and he was, not to, and talk, speak on anybody's finances, but let's just say he was on a very different income bracket. There's this income bracket and then there's about 4 or 5 levels higher. And I didn't understand how that was possible, right? Because I had known Garrett since, high school days and we were good friends. And I was like, man, what are you doing? Health insurance. And then another good buddy of mine, Jamie, brought me in and we interviewed and talked and then started my insurance career.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, it's a unique opportunity to help people out with knowledge that's just not easily accessible.
Yep.
And it's learned in most cases the hard way.
Yeah. I can agree with you there.
Right.
Transitioning from production work into a completely different field, insurance work. You don't know what you don't know. That's one. And unless you have a big nest egg, I can say, when you're really trying to focus on building a brand, building a career in a completely different agency and not allowing yourself the opportunity to just stray away and do 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 50-50, it can take a lot out of you, just energy-wise and financially. And I was in a really tough spot, right? So when I got into healthcare, financially, I wasn't doing great. And I was on the cusp of borderline losing my house.
Yeah.
And it's something that a lot of people don't know. Just because if you were to follow me on social media or just, one of my personal friends.
Well, they're going to after this.
Yeah. Awesome. All you would know is, man, that guy's Ivan's crazy. Mm-hmm. He's living the dream. Everything I do with passion and excitement, from, clowning my kids on social media on their breakfast choices to literally pranking my wife to dancing with my shirt off to Brooks and Dunn. Okay. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who aren't actually watching this, I don't have a 6-pack. Okay. So that's entertaining to watch. But yeah, so and then one of the members of leadership in the insurance company that I was at, he kind of relifted my spirit. I was in a very dark spot where I just was kind of going through the motions, and there's a moment where you're entertaining if the worst happens, you're okay with it.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of going through the motions and you kind of feel like there's no way out. You're just like, I've tried everything, or maybe you didn't try everything and you're just like, because I didn't try everything, I'm not getting out of this. So you're just, we'll see what happens next. And one of the members of leadership saw one day, and I tell you, this was kind of like the transitioning point for me. I really mean this, Nick. I had first day on the job, sold a policy. It was a young girl, 18, 21 years old, $200 a month policy. They had told me that the commission on it was going to be $400. I was super excited. And then I went 5 weeks blank. And when I tell you blank, I'm talking about zero, nothing, no sales, no commission, no nothing. And at that point, I was kind of just going through the motions, walking around like a zombie. My wife just didn't understand it. She was like, you're away for so many hours a day. What's going on? And I'm like, I just feel dumb, my love. I feel like I can't handle it. And
well, it's a skill. It's a skill set.
Right. But to my wife, she didn't get that, right? Because everything prior, I'm the guy who always just made things happen. So to her, it was more of a shock for her as well to kind of see me where I was. And then this is tough because my power was getting cut off. My electric bill, 2 months had went with no without paying the bill, and I got the final notice. It was $630 that I owed for 2 months, and that was to avoid it from getting cut off. And one of the memberships, one of the leaders was Andrew, and he kind of brought me into his office, and Andrew Atchison, and he kind of asked me like, yo, is everything okay? And I kind of like just broke down and was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. My wife is gonna take the kids to my mom's house because she's gonna, tell them a story that there's an electrical storm or maybe there's an outage, and just to show face to my kids, you know what I mean, like. And so I just remember feeling at my absolute lowest, and he brought me in, brings out his business card, goes to FPL.com, pays the bill, and I say, I can't pay you back, man. I don't know how to pay you back, dude. He's like, I need you to be here. And I'm like, but I am here. I'm here every day. He goes, no, Ivan, your body's here, but you're mentally checked out. Yeah. And I was like, what? Like, he's like, I need you to be here, man. I need this to be your wake up to allow yourself the next 30 days to just be here mentally, not just physically. Don't go through the motions. And I'm like, I get emotional thinking about it, because Andrew was like a saving grace at that moment. And when I tell you, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders and my spirits were lifted. This happened almost 3 years ago, and I got the same feeling like it happened yesterday when I think about it.
So we connect. We have similar paths on multiple levels with the background in the clubs. My first job in the club business was the guy stood on the corner of 2nd and Broadway handing out free drink passes. Come with me,
There it is.
And I had nothing when I had lost everything. When I met a guy named Andy, who was a leader, and was able to basically take me under his wing, and he saw potential and unlocked some things and within me to do those very same things. But like those little things that meant so much to you, I think, so now you're on the other side, right? Now you've been able to do that give back, do that for other people.
I have.
But like, if you haven't received it, and even when you do it, you don't understand how big of an impact that it makes. And more importantly, you didn't quit. You could have quit.
Yeah.
You could have let him pay that bill and never came back.
Bah.
That's right. You could have done, and a lot of people do that. But like, so let's talk about, because you obviously had to have support from home to stay. I mean, not many spouses will let somebody figure something out for 2 months.
Yeah, no, with no nest egg.
With no nest egg, right? So, but let's talk about the mindset and the paradigm shift that you went through with that, because that's what this is all about. Like the moment, well, let me tell you a quick little story. So in 2015, I read a book, Think and Grow Rich. Great book. And then there's an audio book that's called The Strangest Secret. Okay. That is kind of like a chapter 2 to that book almost. It's like a follow-up, right? Some people say it's the prerequisite. I read it after, so that's what I say, right?
Yeah.
But in that 45-minute audiobook, the author, Earl, challenges you to do a 30-day exercise where you write 10 things on an index card that you can do every single day for 30 days. And if you don't do those, you have to rip up and start over, right? So here I am. In 4 years, my business partners and I owned multiple nightclubs and restaurants. We were able to generate lots of revenue. I didn't know how to manage money at the time. And that was before I had lost everything on a big gamble in real estate. But like when I read in 2015, all this is in the past. I'd played professional sports. When we ripped up our 16th card, I looked at her and I was like, yo, we're the problem. We're the problem. And everything that we have today stems from that moment forward, because we were able to not just maintain it, but actually scale it, grow it, and all that type of stuff. It taught me a different way to think and believe, and it taught me to look in and not out for when there were to be lessons learned. If something went wrong, I learned to do this instead of this.
Which is hard in itself too.
So talk to me about your journey in that.
Well, having the support, like you said, from my partner at home, meant the world. Because again, she knew, she saw the vision, she saw the opportunity. She knew that this had a proven system, but because mentally I had been checked out, I couldn't see. And because she saw what it was, she always knew what was inside of me. She didn't give up on me, right? So my wife would, when I'd be down and out, she would pump me back up. When I would be crying, she'd be wiping my tears, and she'd be doing stuff from me that I didn't really, I've never experienced from her. Mind you, I've been married 14 years. I've been with my wife 14 years. And I can tell you that she's been a great wife. She's been a great homemaker, an incredible mother, and a beautiful spouse. But I've always been in a position where I'd never needed that type of validation or support or mental reassurance at home. I've always kind of been like the risk taker. I've always been the guy to just make it happen. And so that to me was, I didn't know that was in my wife because I had never received it, because it was never needed.
Right.
And so in that moment, by her doing that for me, I can tell you this, in 14 years, the last 2.5, 3 years have been the absolute best years of my marriage. And I mean that because it's when someone you know and love watches you go through a heartache, one of two things happens. We know what it is, right? She either packs up shop, or that person packs up shop and says, it's too much to handle, I can't go on. Or they become your biggest supporter, your biggest cheerleader, your biggest rock to lean up against. And that's what my wife did for me. And with what Andrew did for me by giving me time, because now, mind you, I had already, the mortgage wasn't paid, so it was just a matter of time before the house gets taken. Now the cars were getting taken away. That's what it is. And now the electric was gonna get taken away. So I'm like down the rabbit hole, and then nobody knew, right? I'm in the parking lot midday, and I'm asking people, hey man, I'm short 50 cents. I gotta go. I want to buy some candy, but in reality, I'm asking 20 people for 50 cents. And in the car, I'm ordering off the dollar menu so that way I can eat lunch, right? And a lot of people just didn't know what was going on. And I'd walk in with a smile, and be like, you know how us fat boys do, baby? Right. You know what I mean? Like, anybody want a cheeseburger? You know what I mean? And I'd make it into something comical, right? Because that's just what we do when you're going through a hard time, just through humor. And so having her as a support system really just helped me in areas that I didn't know I needed help. And then Andrew he bought me time, and he gave me perspective of what a different possibility, because again, I had known him for years too, but I didn't know him in that capacity, right? It's one thing when you shake hands with people, you have a good conversation, you laugh, you joke, but to, out of the kindness of your heart, drop some serious coin because somebody's about to have their power taken off, that's a different level, right? And so
That's leadership.
it's leadership. Yeah, it's 100% leadership. And,
Somebody might have done that for him. Maybe I love one of my favorite quotes from Simon Sinek is, "Before you can lead, you have to learn to follow." And you can even trace that back to the Bible. The people that were going out to lead and lead the word, they were followers first, right? You know what I mean? So you have to learn to lead before you can follow. But speaking of 29-cent cheeseburgers, when we were in Cincy to catch the Reds-Dodgers game about a month ago, and on the way back, we drove through Florence, Kentucky, which was a minor league baseball park. Nice. That was my home field for a while. And I hadn't been back there since my last game back in 2006 there. And so I was driving, showing my wife and kid around because they don't know that. They never saw me play. They never saw that part of my life. And I showed my son, I was like, so this is the McDonald's that when I found change in the glove box or the car, that I was able to go get food, because I told him, I was like, and this is a true story, I had a jar of peanut butter. That's all I had to eat for a week with a spoon, like a big old, the crunchy kind, and that was all that I had. Was
the family size.
That was it, because in spring training you weren't paid.
Yeah,
you weren't paid. Didn't have everything. A friend of mine who was a pitching coach on a previous team had a house there, and they let me stay there with him. Like I literally had nothing except for the car I drove, and he lived right close to the field, so I didn't have to burn gas. But literally, I had a jar of peanut butter, and I was too proud because he'd be like, "Hyder, are you eating peanut butter?" And I'd be like, "Yes, sir." And he'd be like, come get a burger, man. We're cooking. I'm like, and I wouldn't do it, right? But of course I would call my dad, and be like, help me, help me,
pop.
Yeah. I'd call the parents, but the one, I appreciate so much what I have because of that. There wouldn't be good without evil. There wouldn't be light without dark. You have to have the counterpart, right?
Yeah.
To appreciate it. But dude, that's an incredible story, and that's the story that's the American dream. If you want something enough and you're willing to do whatever it takes to get it, you can have it.
Yeah. I strongly believe that two figures that I didn't realize were such a huge impact in my life, because I just thought that again, when you're young, you just see it as in like, oh, they just pay the bills. You don't know. So it was obviously my first role model leader, without me knowing that that's what she was my grandmother. My grandmother was when I tell you, the family supporter. I mean, man, she paid everybody's bills, from my dad to my mom to to her bills. She worked 18-hour days, and she down in Miami, she was big into a very spiritual woman. She did tarot card reading, just all that kind of stuff. I know it sounds silly to hear, right? Because I'm saying it, and the first thing people think of, like, Miss Cleo.
Oh yeah,
but that it wasn't a Miss Cleo moment, right? So my grandmother did spiritual readings. She did tarot cards. She did house cleansing of bad spirits. And as a kid, I'm just like, that's just what she does. I don't know, but she'd be at 6 a.m. in a shack on property right in my grandmother's house from 6 a.m. till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. And
I would stay on during the summer, because we stayed with my grandparents during the summer, all day on the driveway talking, and I'd put on a show for all of her, all of the women who would come and all the men who would come and see my grandmother and wait on the driveway, sitting down in chairs. And my grandmother paid for everybody's way. And I just think when you're a kid, you don't realize what that means. Mm-hmm. As an adult, I see, man, this is a woman in her 70s working 16-hour days, paying the tab everywhere she went. She was a supporter, a lover, just an incredible woman.
A leader.
Mm-hmm. Nobody did anything without asking grandma. It was like, let's see what your grandmother has to say. You know what I mean? That was her. And the second role model of my life was my stepfather. My stepfather came into a situation, and even though him and my mother aren't together today, I still look at him as an incredible role model, because the one thing you find out as you get older and you're married with your own children is what happens behind closed doors between a husband and wife has nothing to do with the children. Mm-hmm. he always showed us love and respect. So for that reason alone, I can never hate that man.
And he didn't have to.
And he didn't have to, right? So my father came from Cuba in 1981 when Fidel Castro opened up in Mariel and allowed everybody, criminals, the mental institutions, people leave Cuba. If you want to leave, now's the time. So he came in 1981 in Mariel in Cuba, and he met my mom in the 90s, and we lived at that time. My mom was a single mom, 3 kids, my older sister and my 2 older sisters, and me in an efficiency in South Beach. My mom lived in the square cutaway on a twin size bed in the entrance of the apartment where the living room walks into the kitchen, and then we were in we were in the 1-bedroom portion, which is not really a 1-bedroom, but it's a dividing wall, half wall, on a queen size bed. Me and my younger older sister, and then my oldest sister on the sofa bed. And he walked into that situation like a stud and just literally embraced us as his children. And this is, to me, like, again, I as an adult, I look back, I'm like, that's crazy. Because if I had to walk into, I don't know if I could take on with 3 older children who are already stuck in their ways and run the risk of respectful, disrespectful, I don't know, the father being crazy, you know what I mean, pull up at the wrong time. And so, but this man, he did construction, and he would be at work 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m. on South Beach doing construction till 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And if there was a big job, he'd go to sleep in midday, wake up at 11 p.m. to be at work by 1 a.m. and then work till noon the next day. And that was what I saw growing up as what it took to support a family. And then he convinced my mom, right, who my uncle in New York, or New Jersey rather, had sent my mom $600 to buy him a ticket or to put a deposit on an apartment because he was moving down to Miami. So he convinced my mom to take my uncle $600, and they started their business.
Oh, wow.
A construction business. And my mom was like, my brother's kind of crazy, so this has to work. You got to pay him back. And great, thankfully they did, because they created their construction business together. And what went from making $600 to $1,000 a week, which was great money in the 90s. We had an apartment, and turned into a $300,000 a year business, profit, right? And to me, I look at that and I'm like, man, this is a man that when I met him as a child couldn't pronounce shoes. He said, Ivan, can you please do me a favor and passing me the shoes? And my sisters and I would clown him. We're like, what do you want us to chew, Bernard? The shoes. You said chew? Ivan, the shoes right there, please, passing me the Now, 20 years later, he thinks he's an American biker. He's got a Harley, and he's got a ponytail. He rides bike. Hey, Ivan, what's going on? How are you? And I'm like, who is this man? Yeah. You know what I mean? But again, I saw those 2 role models growing up, and they are what fueled me to work nightclubs 4 days a week until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and then work a daytime job from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and then on the weekends do photography work for weddings, second assistant, second camera, and just literally put on a show for people throughout the week, because I knew that's what hard work looked like if you wanted to support your family. So that's why my wife really didn't understand it, because for the first 10 years of our relationship, all she knew was like a guy who was on the go. If I got 45 minutes of sleep, it was the same as if I got 4, 6, or 8 hours of sleep. I was just rocking and rolling, So that's that's really important, folks, to keep in mind. I tell a lot of my friends that have kids, I'm like, you're writing a story that you don't even realize you're writing, and somebody's reading it. It's those children that are watching everything you do. They're reading the story you're writing every single day. And children change people. They changed me. They changed my wife. They change people for the better. Same. They should for the better. They're the greatest gift on this planet. I agree.
Period. And it just, and when you so my son's 12, my daughter's 6 months old, right? So we had 11 and a half years of that was the new normal. And then she got here, and we can't even remember what it's like before she got here. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. All right. So, first of all, thank you for sharing all that. That's an unbelievable story. There is, I've got some questions for you here, but I do want to bring you back at some point in time to talk about marketing and promoting that you learned in the nightclub business? Because in my opinion, from a brick and mortar retail standpoint, I think they're the best at it, because it's highly competitive market, especially in South Florida, much like it is here in Nashville. It was extremely competitive, and it was feast or famine, I guess you could say. But anyways, all right. So, first of all, let's talk about. We're going to talk about your social media before we're done. But talk to me about I know office culture, team culture. That means a lot to you.
Big time.
All right. So tell us a little bit about that. What does culture mean to you, and why is it important in things that you do?
So if you were to ask my wife, and she would say Ivan will consider borderline poverty and being homeless over sacrificing culture and building that kind of environment. I've never been the guy to not want to be at work. Let's just say that.
Bad culture leads to poverty and homelessness, right? So that's exactly right.
Correct, right? So I find that work doesn't have to be a place that you dread. When I hear other people say, "Ugh, Monday, back at it," am I right? I'm like, no. I'm like, well, first of all, it didn't end for me. I don't know what back at Monday means. I guess the first day of the new week, but because I work Saturday and Sunday too, But to me, I love an environment where people have that confidence and that faith in one another that you're going to do what it takes to see them thrive and survive. You know what I mean? And even if it meant sacrificing your own survival, in a sense, right? Yeah. Of course, I want to go to a place where if it's your birthday, everybody in the office knows it, and we're going to celebrate your day, your life. You know what I mean? Like, cause why not? We're not Google. We don't have 5,000 employees on campus. You know what I mean? In an office of 40, 50, 60 agents, I don't think it's too much to ask for to out of my own pocket, pick up a $15, $20 cake and have your whole entire team celebrate someone's birthday and just share with that individual, man, how grateful we are for you to be here. You know what I mean?
God. Yes, sir.
Because they don't, right? So, especially in a 1099 commission-only job, people have the opportunity to do essentially whatever they want. Now, granted, I can't go and be a doctor if I wanted to tomorrow, right? But I can certainly go pick up a position that could provide me with a conservative annual salary, and I work 9 to 5, and that just be my lifestyle, and that's it. I'm another check-in, check-out employee, and there's supervisors, and there's other managers, and then there's code of conduct, and yada, yada, yada. But to truly be a part of a place that loves you and appreciates you and acknowledges you and hears you, right? That's how culture is created. Themes, you know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to wear a shirt and tie or a polo and slacks every single day, and there's nothing wrong with that either, right? But on special occasions, on holidays, on push weeks, on certain times of the year, open enrollment, you know what I mean? Like, having themed dress up days and having everybody participate in what you're trying to accomplish is hysterical. You know what I mean? Like, we have so many photos and videos in office of just doing random, ridiculous, amazing things that it brings a smile to your face and everyone as well. And I'm not talking about wear your Hawaiian shirt today, wear your Hawaiian shirt to work today, everybody. No, I want to see you in hula scoop and hula skirts, okay? And you know what, Bill from accounting? I want to see you with a coconut bra, okay?
That's right.
That's what I want, okay?
We call those water cooler moments. It's when everybody gathers around when they're not working at break or whatever. That's what the things that they talk about. And like we called them OSMs in the nightclub business, or OCMs, oh crap moments. That was what we used to challenge our staff in the nightclub business to do, was create those, because I want to be remembered. Like, if you're remembered on Monday, they'll come back. They're going to tell somebody, and they're going to come back to see what you're going to do next.
Absolutely.
And that gives people something to look forward to. A lot of folks struggle with their own identities and their beliefs in themselves. I know I struggled with that big time when I first got into when I first started my insurance agency. I looked around and I looked in the mirror one day and I thought, I'm dressed the exact same way as I was as a professional athlete. So if I see the same person, how is anybody else going to see me any different? And I had to recreate who I was going to be because, oh gosh, I saw a thing with Tom Brady yesterday, a clip where he was talking about not getting drafted into the 6th round and everything else. And he was like, God, I thought I was going to have to like go sell insurance or something like that. It was funny.
That's a tear moment right there.
I
Like, no, Brady, no.
But God, and the insurance industry has created more millionaires than any other industry on the planet. That being said, but,
Yep.
obviously I say this when we're interviewing people to become new team members here at Team Hyder all the time. I'm like, first of all, there may be one kid on the planet that on 4th grade career day, they stand up and they're like, what are you going to be when you grow up? And it'd probably be my kid. It's on the screen behind me most of the time, but he would be like, only my kid would stand up and be, when I grow up, I'm going to be in health insurance. Not many people say that. The reason I'm in health insurance, the reason I love health insurance so much is because, one, my wife and I knew who we wanted to be, and we knew what we wanted to bring to the community. And it just so happens that an amazing man created an amazing outlet where we were able to do that. You know what I mean? And it just so happened that it was insurance that allowed us to do that. So because not one time in my life did I ever think maybe I should turn to that. Honestly, I got referred to the interview about starting it, and I had interviewed with some of the bigger players, State Farm and all those things, and quite frankly, the outlet that I was able to take advantage of, that you were able to take advantage of, is one of a kind and absolutely amazing. But it wasn't done for me. As we've been told, we were given a hand up, not a hand out. Right? Just like your leaders did for you when you didn't have power. It was a hand up, not a hand out.
Right.
And it gave us, I was just looking for the outlet or the opportunity to become who I believed I could be. Right? Oh, I got one. Oof. That was a good one.
I was like, where's yours at? I need one over here. Like,
there you go. But business owners, man, listen up. Listen up. This is some good stuff here, dude. It's hard. It's hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
So you said something earlier, and I hate to interrupt you. I apologize.
No, go.
But I think it is the Lord's way of reminding me to speak up, because when you hear something twice in a day, it's kind of like, okay, now I need to start paying attention. So I'm not sure if you're a part of networking groups. I got to imagine you are. I'm a part of a group called BNI, right? They are world renowned. They're an amazing networking group. And today, part of my BNI group, and I actually, I tell you, I want to be specific. What was the name of the author that you said? Sinek, is it?
Simon Sinek. Lead before you follow.
Right. So Simon Sinek.
Or follow before you lead.
Right. So Simon Sinek and one of the lawyers from my group, his name is Jesse O'Hara, he shared with me something that he picked up from Simon Sinek. And mind you, I had never heard this name before. So when you said it, I got goosebumps because I was like,
Simon's awesome. You should check him out. His IG is fantastic.
Now I'm going to now, because this is a sign. So he shared with me this diagram. Okay, it's called. It's a 3 circles, like a bullseye, almost, for those of you listening. In the middle circle it says why, and then the circle after that is how, and then the outer circle is what. Essentially the gist was, what he was trying to share was, a lot of times when people share why they do what they do, or who they are and what they do for a living, they always start with the outer part. What are you? What do you do? Well, I'm a health insurance guy. Okay, and then I help people get insurance, so that way they can save some money. And then you imagine if, and he gave the example, imagine if Apple, right, put out a commercial. Well, I sell computers and phones on the internet or at a store, so that way you guys can have a good time. Like, started from the outside in, but in reality, Apple's like, we create innovative pieces of technology to enhance your experience, and essentially, and then it goes from the inside, why it is what they do, then to the last part, which is the what. And he goes, consider that the next time somebody says, well, what do you do? And I really took that for face value, and I was like, I've been asked a million times, well, Ivan, what do you do for a living? Oh, I sell health insurance. Oh, really? What kind? Oh, just anything to kind of like, this person, that person, and not that I don't build a rapport with people, because I have the capability of being able to build rapport with people, but I have found the more passionate you are about something, or when you care about something to a higher capacity, it's when you really engage with that person. So moving forward, the next time somebody says, Ivan, what do you do? I'm like, I help my community out. Okay.
Yeah.
I help my community out find the best possible solution to meet their needs.
Yeah.
How do you do that? By selling healthcare.
That's right, baby.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
And so when you said that, I got goosebumps, because that was the first time I heard that name, and then second time today, and I was like, I got to share this with you. And I'm sorry for taking off 2 minutes of the time here to share that, but I thought you would appreciate that.
Absolutely. Another thing that he said, that Simon says, that I love, I share it to a lot of our agents, is he said, he's talking about skiers, and I'm not a skier. I want to be,
Okay.
not yet. But skiers, he was like, do you think skiers focus on the trees or the path? Right? And he was like, that's a great analogy for the average person, because most people focus on the problem, not the solution. And if you look for the trees, that's what you'll find. But if you look for the path, that's what you find when you're skiing, right? So as a skier, if you look for trees, you find a tree. If you look for path, you find path. If you look for problems, you'll find them. If you look for opportunity or solutions, that's what you'll find. And I'm a big, my wife and I are believers, and one of our, like, there's so many hymns that you hear in church on every Sunday where they're talking about count your blessings, count your blessings, count your blessings. But how many times do we do that? You can go look at Yelp reviews and see that people only speak up when there's a problem.
Only.
Right? And it's hardly the good reviews are. Like, so we're raising our kids to try to have that balance. All right. So if you're going to be hard on yourself, absolutely challenge yourself to be better. But if that's all you get, like I tell my son all the time, I'm like, you do need to kind of be your biggest fan at the same time. Right. Because if you don't believe in you, nobody else will.
Yes.
Right. So.
And that's what I'm trying to do right now for my kids. I'm trying to, I know it sounds very cheesy and cliche, but I'm creating that right now for my family, right? So as much as the older version of me is like, you have to put in the work, you have to put in the 80 plus hours a week. Excuse me.
No problem.
You have to just dedicate your time to your craft and build your empire and go. Don't let anything get in the way. I also strongly believe in that you also have to be a presence. And you have to not only just believe in yourself, but you have to allow the people around you to believe in you as well through your actions. And I can tell you I'm there for you at any time you need me, Nick, right? Mm-hmm. But unless I show up for you, am I really there?
Ooh.
So for my daughter, who's 13, transitioning into high school, I want to be that male figure in her life where she's not seeking the attention of other men, because she doesn't have her father at home showing it to her. I don't need my son getting into trouble because Papi's not home to be able to explain right from wrong. And I don't want my wife out there entertaining the idea of other men either,
right,
because I'm not doing my part. Now, again, that may seem shallow or selfish, but it's not. It's understanding that out of sight, out of mind happens far too often. And by creating a balance of putting in the work and time in your career, but also being a figure for your family and community to rely on and know and trust, that is equally hard and a space to put the time and work into,
So a lot of the purpose of this show is, like I was telling you earlier, we're going to have a lot of people on here that everybody already knows, and we're going to have a lot of people that people don't know yet, right?
Hola.
But no. Based on some views on some videos, I'm going to say a lot more people know you.
I feel like Oprah right now.
That's
okay?
right. Well,
you get a view. A lot of views happening right now.
Well, let's talk. Let's tell everybody, because I got to have you back. First of all, I got to bring you back. I got to bring you back. We're going to talk about marketing, promotion, what we learned in the nightclub business, more on what we're talking about right now. Because I know we've got to get this thing wrapped here in a minute, and we're at a really good place to do that. However, and I can tell you're a very goal-driven person. So you're doing stuff on social media. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's tell people where they can find you. So your IG, your Instagram, and your Facebook are both of them. Mm-hmm. Both of them are Ivan Itzkowitz, right? Your name?
Just Ivan Itzkowitz. I only have Facebook and I only have Instagram. I do have a TikTok where I spy on my daughter to make sure everything is kosher and appropriate. But it's not for actual personal use. My Instagram, IG, at Ivan Itzkowitz, first and last name. And then you can find me on Facebook, Ivan Itzkowitz as well.
Awesome. You got a email address is ivanitzhealth@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
And if anybody wants your phone number, they can find you and ask you, right? They can find you and ask you. Absolutely. So, because I'm not going to answer to your wife when she finds out I gave out your phone number today. But let's talk about, so what are you doing with your social media? I mean, dude, it's taken off. It's freaking awesome. That was how I actually got to know you first.
Yes.
Is from those, because you were down in South Florida, and quite frankly, I'm a big culture person too. I want to have great culture at home. I want to have culture at the office. I want to have culture in life. Uh-huh. What I saw on Facebook at the time, I was like, that guy knows what I'm talking about. That guy knows what I'm pretty sure it was a flash dance. Right? So, all right, talk to them about that. Let them know what they're going to find when they go find you.
Let me just create a quick disclaimer first, okay? Please do not judge my professional career based on my social media postings. When I say I genuinely love social media as a tool, obviously, but also as a source of just being able to creatively put things out there that make me personally happy. Know that it comes from a place of like, we're all different people, we're all having fun, but I aside from just using it as a business tool, I genuinely love to have fun with it. With that being said, that's my mini disclosure. I have a video right now that's currently going viral. It's almost at 400,000 views.
Wow.
Yeah. Essentially it's the Neon Moon song by Brooks and Dunn. And
it was like you knew we were coming to Nashville.
I was getting ready for my Nashville trip, and on Friday morning, last Friday, literally, it's not even a full week. It's literally, I'd say, what's Friday to now? 4 or 5 days or something. And I put it out there. Have a good day. That's literally my caption. Have a good day. And it's almost at 400,000 views. And my wife, let me give you a little bit of background story. So my wife for like 2 weeks was sending me videos of like just handsome cowboys with six packs, and clearly they had rubbed baby oil on their chest, because there's no way a man can just glisten like that in the sunlight without baby oil. Okay, I'm still thinking about it now. I'm like, man, this guy's golden over here. He's just glistening. I'm entranced by this man's video. What's happening over here? So my wife sends it to me, and I'm like, clearly there's a big difference here. Okay, he's in shape, tall, whatever. I'm short and not as much as in shape. And then a couple of days later, she sends me another video of a guy. This guy's even more defined than the first guy. He's just like a godlike figure, just super chiseled. And I'm like, I think I see a pattern here. She loves the fact that these men are dancing to this song without a shirt. Okay, mm-hmm. That's gotta be it, right? Because I'm clearly as handsome as these men right here, obviously. And so she must be saying, babe, these guys don't have anything on you. That's what I gathered from it. So I recreated the videos that she had been sending me in my own style. I found a pair of jeans that fit me 2 sizes ago that I was able to rub Crisco and coconut oil to get inside of. So it looked like they spray painted the jeans on me. And I had an old Eagle belt that was just super vintage structure before they got purchased by Express for Men early 2003, and I had it still. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I just kept it for memory, and I put it on with my Chelsea boots because I don't own a pair of cowboy boots, and I did the dance, and it was something that to me was, again, just funny and cool and would be something to laugh at. I didn't expect it to go viral and hit almost 400,000 views.
It's still going.
It's still going. I'm getting blown up right now. It's still with comments. Some of them are not as nice.
That's when you know you've made it. Like, I'm just waiting on Ellen to call you. Ellen, you gotta have Ivan.
I'm gonna show up with no shirt on, with the same spray painted jeans, okay, and boots, and my hair undone, and doing the dance. Yeah. So, but no, and my wife loves it, and everybody finds it funny, and some people not as much, and it ruins their lunch for them. But again, that's just part of the moments that I genuinely love doing and having fun doing, getting the opportunity to just put myself out there, you know what I mean? And I look at, is there negative exposure? Absolutely. Of course, you don't want to be associated with that, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of times people, when they're first getting into, quote unquote branding themselves, there's such a high concentration on the content that they want to put out, and so days will pass, weeks will pass, months will pass, even years. They don't even put any content out, or if they do, it's very seldom. And something that I don't know if you follow Gary Vee. Mm-hmm. Gary Vee is a huge believer on just put it out there.
Absolutely.
If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You try again. And
you know how many people said I was an idiot for doing a podcast? You know what I mean? We're just doing it, baby.
Do it, right? And I'm loving it, by the way. And so that's why I do what I do, because I'm gonna put it out there and I'm gonna have fun with it, and I'm gonna do it on my own terms. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some times when I'm about to make an actual post and I am for 20 minutes thinking of the perfect caption.
Sure.
Okay. Because that goes a long way. But I promise you this, you're still going to catch me posting and putting up stories and reels and videos and just genuinely having a good time and doing my best to just put a smile on other people's faces and have a good time with me.
What I hear is you take what you do seriously, but you don't take yourself too seriously. And that's a beautiful thing, right? So I think that's a great place to conclude it. I think that's awesome. Right? So, all right. Man. So check it out. First of all, Ivan, thanks so much for being a guest today on the Hitstreak podcast. Again, on Instagram and Facebook, Ivan Itzkowitz, and obviously on all the captions or his bio listed on all these things, you can figure out the spelling right there. Definitely check out Brooks and Dunn, Ivan Itzkowitz, Brooks and Dunn on Instagram, and let's keep those views going to the chase to 1 million.
Yeah,
chase to 1 million.
I'd love it, because then I'll go to the original guy that she had sent me the video. I'm like, ha,
that's right.
Gotcha, pal.
That's right.
Gotcha. He's at 2 million views though, so that's a long way. The guy's stunning. Well,
Anyways, folks, thanks so much for hanging with us again today. Ivan, thank you once again. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Hitstreak podcast. God bless.
Woo woo.